what are your plans, right? Because I've got friends who will never leave Cameroon for no reason of working abroad, right?
Wow.
Because these people have had strategized properly, right? And they are making a lot of money. It's not only Cameroon, maybe Nigeria and Uganda and Ghana as well. So the reason why most people are not, on a certain level is because probably they have not understood who they are and where they are heading to. So trying to understand who you are is the first step, right? Once you understand who you are, the person that you are, you realize that you can do what you've been called or what you were sent on earth to do for free.
Good day, amazing lovers. Welcome once more to our favorite program, Life for Africans in the Diaspora. As you all know, we share the good, the bad, and the ugly. We encourage Africans to share their thoughts and their experiences in order to educate, to enlighten, and to motivate one another. And I remain your humble host, Martha Gift, the monologist, aka Mama BK, and the one and only original Mrs. Maeke. And today we have an amazing brother in the house, very talented, smart, and hardworking. And I'll not tell you guys his name. I'll let him introduce himself. So, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me, Mama Gift.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Thank you. So my name is Lamus. I am honored to be part of your program today. I'm from Cameroon.
Wow.
And I work in the UAE as an environmental sustainability specialist.
Ooh. Who says we don't have, those tycoons in the UAE? Usually some of us say Africans are only doing jobs like cleaning, waiter, waitress. Remember, we are not saying these positions are actually bad, but most people don't believe we have Africans in this UAE that actually are holding good positions, that are earning good.
Okay.
Like we used to, remember I shared a video with you guys of our brother, and I'm sure maybe you've not seen that video. He was sharing with us everything he has been through in this country, and he was saying it's not possible to actually make it in this country. So he was saying he wants to go back. He wants to go back to Africa. Usually we don't make mention of any particular country, because we just talk about Africa as a whole. We are all about growth and development. We do not talk down on any country or any particular group of people. So if we are talking about growth, obviously insults should be out of the topic. So what do you think? Has UAE been a blessing to you or a curse?
For me, first of all, I would like to thank God Almighty for giving me the opportunity to be able to, fly across the continent of Africa to be in the Middle East, UAE to be precise. I've been here for a couple of years, I guess 8 years, if I'm not mistaken. And I would say everything that I've learned throughout my career has been because of my my experience of living and working in the UAE. And in a nutshell, I would say it has been a fantastic blessing to me. Not only to me, I think to a whole lot of friends that I've got and made in the UAE, and as well to my siblings who are here as well in the UAE.
So you see, so many people are saying they're in this country and they are alone. They've been here for 5, 10 years and they are not thinking of bringing any family member. Yet so I've come across so many people that are saying, I can never encourage my family member to come to this country. But you are here saying UAE has been such a blessing to you. And I myself, I can also testify about that. UAE has been a blessing. I've experienced a lot. I've learned a lot. The culture, these people are super amazing. When it comes to kindness, that's another thing I've learned from them. These people are very kind and they know how to treat people. This is something I am as well copying. Remember, we tell people if you see something good, try to copy. Don't just be envious, because obviously when you're envious, that's when you start acting as an evil person. But I'm glad you can appreciate the fact that UAE has been a blessing to you and your family members. So to you out there, don't just come to the UAE and experience UAE and you focus on the negative aspects you experienced. UAE is teaching you, do everything possible to learn those lessons. And obviously, try to do everything possible to grow. Remember, we talk about self-development, and I know it has gone a long way to work for you. So can you tell us how your experience has been so far from when you came? I have another question. Did you get a job within the very first 2 months? Because I would love us to focus on 2 months, because before we used to have 3 months visa, but now the visit visa is just 2 months.
Yeah. To me, like when I hear questions or when I get questions like this, when I sit with podcasts and maybe interviews with people, it gives me some sort of nostalgia. Yeah. So when I got here first in the UAE, that was September 2016. It was quite challenging at that time because then I live in Cameroon. I used to work in Cameroon before coming over here. So when I got here, I was coming with the intention of getting a white collar job, as I was being told by my friend who used to work here before me. So when I got here, I tried. I couldn't get exactly what I was told that I'm going to get. So as a man that I am, I just had to make the opportunity with the available resources that I had. So I had to jump into the hospitality industry. Wow. So I come from a maritime background. I work with a maritime company. So I started with the hospitality sector here, where it's quite funny because it was really something I've never done before. I started with a kitchen or a restaurant company, and then I started, washing plates initially because that was what I could get at that time. Wow. Seriously. So I worked with them for 2 months. That was from November to January, and then I had to speak to the manager. See, this is what I've got. This is the experience I've got. I'm not comfortable doing what I'm doing. So if you don't mind, I would like to return back to my country. So
you two thought of giving up?
Yeah. Seriously.
Oh my goodness, giving up is not an option.
Yeah. And then he was a nice fella. He told me, so what can you do? That was a question he asked me. So what can you do? Because we are in a restaurant business, and the most we can do for you is probably maybe elevate you to a position of based on my qualifications and my experience. So he told me the most we can do for you is to maybe elevate you to the position of a storekeeper, or someone who will be in charge of quality control and everything which relates to quality of the food and everything in the restaurant. And I said, sure, let's give it a shot. And then I was being trained for a month. So they gave me the try, and I started working as a storekeeper with them from February of 2017, yeah. And then I worked with them for a couple of months. Then it was, I think, a bit challenging for the company then because we used to go a couple of months with no salaries. So yeah, you could do 2 months and then you're being paid 1 month in arrears. So you can imagine living with a minimum salary, very small at that time.
But you were eating from the restaurant.
Yeah. So they provided us with staff meals, but with no accommodation. So what you earned, you were responsible for your lodging, you were responsible for your transportation. At that time, I think I used to earn 2,000 dirhams in 2017. So I could manage to pay for my accommodation. Back then, I used to live somewhere in Abu Hail. Yeah. So every day I had to commute from Abu Hail to Dubai Marina, where the restaurant was. So averagely I used the metro, because that was what I could afford at that time, not a car like we're driving nowadays. So every day, I would say on a monthly basis, I would top up my metro card, or my Nul card, if I'm not mistaken, that was being called my Nul card. So I would top it on a monthly basis. I think that was like 350 for a month.
It's about 360.
360, something like that at that time. I don't know how much it costs now. So and then so averagely I would spend like for my lodging and my transportation like 1,000 dirhams. So and then at the end of the day,
you need to send something back.
Definitely. Ooh. So at the end of the day, I had just pennies left on me. Ooh. But I wasn't disappointed, because then I was focused on heading where I wanted to be. So luckily enough, since I used to work somewhere around Marina Walk, that was where the restaurant is, is because it's still operational. Wow. I had my maritime background, so like I told you, so I had to approach one of my Cameroonian brothers. He's someone I really like, and he's someone who I would every day appreciate and thank for the opportunity that he gave me. Mr. Bob Dinga. He used to be the chartered manager at that time in the company. So I had to approach him and then tell him about who I am and where I came from and who I want to become, in the nearest future. And then he saw, the delight in me and the enthusiasm in me. And he told me, see, I cannot give you a job because I'm on the company. But what I would do for you is I would liaise with my manager or the general manager and then put in some words for you and then see if there's an opportunity and then we'll get back to you. Wow. So luckily enough, I was able to meet with the manager and then, to cut a long story short, I was given the opportunity, to work in the maritime industry, which is something that I've always liked, since working back home. So that's it. I left the restaurant industry or the restaurant business and then I moved into maritime. And since then, I've been, flourishing in the maritime industry.
Amazing. This is quite interesting. It means coming from Africa, you had a focus and you did not abandon your dreams. Because, usually people say the certificates you acquire from Africa are useless when you're coming to the UAE. But with what you've just shared with us, it's a clear indication that your certificates are actually useful, and you must have that interest. You're like, you don't abandon your dreams, and this is something we have been encouraging people. Whatever field you find yourself in Africa, if you have those certificates, like, I would love you to share with us, what did you do with your certificates? Because some people don't understand this.
So depending on, to me, I wouldn't say certifications is a bad approach, but to me, I am much more, concerned about what you can do when it comes to the skills that you've got, right? Because that's the only thing that can, make someone, feel like, wow, this person is, quite different from this person, right? So we might all have maybe a certificate in this and that, but again, if you cannot prove, right, that what you can do is actually what is needed, there will be no reason for you to be, part of a team. So when I came in here, one thing I understood, not only because I live in the UAE, is that the difference between someone whom I would say is an intellectual and someone who is just a normal person is knowledge. And for you to be able to gather a lot of knowledge, you will need to, be on a continuous search for that knowledge, which in a nutshell is about you studying or reading or maybe doing a lot of research. So I could, I've already understood that for me to be able to get to where I want to become or where I want to be is for me to get into the process of researching or going into further self-development, which is something I've been, engaged in since I got into this country. So I've done a couple of international studies after my studies back home. So currently I'm studying for also an MBA in sustainable.
Amazing people. Can you imagine? Someone is here and he has not stopped. He keeps upgrading himself. And you and I, we keep complaining every day. We keep saying UAE is tough, UAE is tough. It's tough for you because you don't want to elevate. You don't want to upgrade yourself. People are taking baby steps and they are believing they will get to that place where, like, all those imaginations, all those dreams, they will get there. Remember, we say it every day that if you believe, you can move mountains. But do we act on these things we say? Most people don't act on these things. We usually hear these things, we usually talk about these things, but in our lives, we don't practicalize it. But I really, really appreciate you because you've not stopped. Like, you still have dreams, he still has goals, and he's still doing everything possible to get there. And it's quite interesting. I told you the last time we came to your place, I said, I've been looking for someone to actually start this podcast with, but I didn't know who. I've been searching in my mind, who is this person that is the best candidate for me to start my podcast? You all know when I posted our mini podcast studio, yes, this is not the actual setting. Yeah, it was you see those two chairs there? That's what we had. But like, you still have dreams, he still has goals, and he's still doing everything possible to get there. And it's quite interesting. I told you the last time we came to your place, I said, I've been looking for someone to actually start this podcast with, but I didn't know who. I've been searching in my mind, who is this person that is the best candidate for me to start my podcast? You all know when I posted our mini podcast studio, yes, this is not the actual setting. Yeah, it was you see those two chairs there? Yeah. That's what we had. But as time goes on, I was like, but these two chairs are not the best. It's not unique. This is black, this is yellow. I need something that will actually be very attractive.
Yeah.
And like, I would say that's just an example of how our lives should be.
Yeah.
You need to keep thinking of what else can I do to upgrade myself? What can I do? And that's what should be in your mind. Be you, if you're a nanny, a cleaner, a bus conductor, whatever, those dreams you had when you were still young, don't kill them simply because you're in the UAE. Don't kill them simply because your current employer is treating you in a way you can never imagine. Just keep thinking about those your dreams. Keep thinking of how you can upgrade yourself. Keep thinking of those baby steps you can take in order to get to that place where you want to get to. So I really want to appreciate you, Mr. Lambris, for this opportunity to have this conversation with you. But I would love you to tell our audience, those that are new, you know, our freshers, the first timers in the UAE, just give them a word of encouragement. Or let me say, what can you tell them? Because we had a brother on our last show, and he was saying he just came here and he has been about, he said, if I'm not mistaken, 3 weeks, and God has already blessed him. He got a job. He said it's a construction job, it's so tough, and God so kind. Someone was on the show and the person asked him, what can you do? What's your qualification? He said he has advanced level. That's for Cameroonians, you understand. He has advanced level. So he was like, okay, the lady was like, when you were in Cameroon, what were you doing? He said nothing, but he was trying to write concours. And the lady asked him another question. What concours? He said he wrote custom. I think he said custom. She was like, okay, that's administration, and with your advanced level, there's nothing you can do here in that field. So the lady was like, okay, look for something else. Not construction, but it could be, you can start with barrister, you can start with lifeguard, whatever you desire. And that guy told us a story. He said he has a few friends that have advised him that he can stay on that his construction job, and they were processing his visa already. That's something he's very lucky for, because some employers will take you and they will actually use those 2 months, because he came with 2 months tourist visa. They will use those 2 months and maybe ask you to go for visa change with the salary they have been paying you, or maybe they're going to ask you to look for another money elsewhere, or just chase you away. But these people are actually processing his visa, and he was saying he wants to cancel after 6 months. And I was like, okay, in 6 months, you don't still have any UAE experience. So what are your plans after 6 months? You want to cancel. This person has spent money to actually process that visa for you, and you want to cancel after 6 months. That's a fresher. And I know there are so many freshers out there that are listening to some of these frenemies. That's what we call them, because you will be thinking they are your friends. But as soon as you will cancel that visa, that's when you realize all those your friends, sometimes you'll be calling them, I need to go for visa change, I need to pay my bed, I don't have food. Those friends will not respond anymore. They will stay away from you. So what can you really tell our first timers?
To me, I'll just quote from the story of the gentleman you've just raised. To me, I think that conviction, self-conviction is something that we must always engage in. Because for you to be able to know where you are headed, you must always, try to be, convinced about what you can do. Be convinced about, exactly the potentials that you've got, right?
Self-awareness.
So, like for me, I always use my case. I wouldn't say about you or whatsoever. So I always use my case. So when I got in here, I had the opportunity to work with lots of construction companies as an HSE, with offer letters being given to me. But I told them no. I gave them down. I told them no. I am not interested to work with a construction company, because it's not something I'm passionate about. Right? Like I told you, I started working in Cameroon in the maritime sector before moving in here. So I was focused on working with maritime companies. The reason why I, went into the restaurant was because, as a man, you shouldn't stay. So I would advise the gentleman that he should be convinced about what he wants, right? Like you said, I worked with the restaurant company for 1 year, which is enough time, right, to save someone, at least to be able to pay back for all of the investment they've done for you, right? So he should be able to probably sacrifice. It's called sacrificing, right? For the period of maybe 1 year, the period of maybe 1 year or more, at least to cover up for the investment that has been done, on him, and then look for something that he is, confident and is more secure to do without, problems or without setbacks and everything, right? So to people, or for those that are new to the UAE, what I can advise is you have to understand where you're coming from and understand the availability of the resources that you've got, at the moment, and then from there you can be able to plan where you're heading to. So it is always challenging within the first, your first stay or the first months in the UAE. But again, once you get on your feet, probably when you earn your opportunity to get a job, you should be able to, strategize on where am I heading to. So you can always tell people you can do it, you can make it everywhere or anywhere, right? It just depends on what are your plans, right? Because I've got friends who will never leave Cameroon for no reason of working abroad, right?
Wow.
Because these people have had strategized properly, right? And they are making a lot of money. It's not only Cameroon, maybe Nigeria and Uganda and Ghana as well. So the reason why most people are not, God, at the moment, and then from there you can be able to plan where you're heading to. So it is always challenging within the first, your first stay or the first months in the UAE. But again, once you get on your feet, probably when you earn your opportunity to get a job, you should be able to, strategize on where am I heading to. So you can always tell people you can do it, you can make it everywhere or anywhere, right? It just depends on what are your plans, right? Because I've got friends who will never leave Cameroon for no reason of working abroad, right?
Wow.
Because these people have had strategized properly, right? And they are making a lot of money. It's not only Cameroon, maybe Nigeria and Uganda and Ghana as well. So the reason why most people are not, on a certain level is because probably they have not understood who they are and where they are heading to. So trying to understand who you are is the first step, right? Once you understand who you are, the person that you are, you realize that you can do what you've been called or what you were sent on earth to do for free. So these are the type of things that you will do them for, for a very lesser cost or for no money, attached, because it's something you're passionate about doing. But be rest assured that in the long run, this is such things like your passions or what you believe in doing it best is going to pay off, right? So, and they should not, give attention to people who tell you, oh no, don't do this, don't do this. They should be convinced by themselves what they want to do, right? Because then, no one is a kid. So for you to be able to have left Cameroon to Dubai or to the UAE or maybe Nigeria to the UAE or Ghana to the UAE or Uganda or wherever you're coming from, you were convinced that you were coming for a purpose. And you coming to the UAE, you were not, certain that you're going to meet Lamris or you're going to meet Martha, you're going to meet someone else that this person is going to tell you to do this or do this. You were coming with a focus. So why then should you try to derail your plan, right? So these are the things that people need to put into consideration when, not only in the UAE, when they travel abroad in other countries, right? That's it.
Amazing lovers, you've heard from our brother, our friend, our colleague, Mr. Lambris, and I want to believe you picked something from it. Remember, don't forget to like this video if you find it interesting. Don't forget to share to your friends, your family members, and your enemies. And don't forget to subscribe. If you're watching from YouTube, don't forget to subscribe from Facebook. Don't forget to follow. And I'll see you guys on our next video. And again, I want to remind you, if you want to have an opportunity to have a discussion with us, just get to my DM and I will be super available for you. See you on our next video.
Thank you.
Thank you.